But first, breaking news this noon. Firefighters struggle to get smoke and flames under control at a Westland strip mall. And we have just learned one of their own is missing.
Firefighters from several cities have been called in to help in the firefight that started at the Electric Stick Poker Hall.
7 Action News reporter Nima Shafee is live in Westland. Nima, what do we know about the missing firefighter?
Here's what we know with regards to that information just coming to 7 Action News with regards to the fact that 5 firefighters made initial entry into the Electric Stick, which is that burned out building there. It is the building where firefighters are pulling the hose out of. 5 firefighters made initial entry into the kitchen. They were told to back out, and they understand that only 4 guys backed out. The response team attempted to make entry. That response team attempted to go back in there, but the fire was just too strong. Then, within seconds, the roof collapsed. 1 firefighter this midday unaccounted for. That has been confirmed by sources to 7 Action News. What we do know at this point is that this fire broke out shortly after 8 a.m. with the owner being called by the alarm company. Let's take a live look from Chopper, and this is Chopper 7 that is overhead. I do believe that you can see there, seeing that what you can basically see from a bird's eye view what is exactly going on. Take a listen to what the owner, George Marveso, had to say.
Well, I got a call from security. Said, George, you have multiple alarms going off. It was at 8:20. Do you want the police to come? And I said, yeah. When they said more than one, I said yes. And then on the way to work, then all the phone calls from people who had seen the smoke, and the family started calling. So we've worked real hard to come out of the hard economic times, but we're going to rely on our faith. We're going to worry about the people that were involved. We're going to try to make it work, and with the foundations of life get you by, and you can always recover. That's sort of the way I feel.
So back live here along Wayne Road, south of Warren, in this strip mall. I want to paint the picture. Right now you have a live picture of the backhoes in the background of this building. Want to talk a bit about that and educate the viewers at home with regards to the immediacy of these backhoes being brought in. Typically, what the fire department does is wait for any hot spots to be put out before they bring in any excavation equipment, such as a backhoe. But in this sense, there was that immediacy. Again, sources confirming to 7 Action News, as is Deputy Chief Rob Arbini with the Westland Fire Department, that indeed there is someone missing amid that rubble, but they are not confirming that it is a firefighter. However, our sources have confirmed that fact. That is the very latest from here in Westland this midday. I'm Nima Shafee for 7 Action News.
And the backhoe you were referring to, we did see from Chopper 7 in live pictures, but just to go back over it again, because we know search and rescue crews are there. You say 5 firefighters went in and only 4 came out?
Indeed, Glenda, 5 firefighters went in, 4 came out, and in just the last 10 minutes, a search and rescue team from a nearby fire department, I cannot make out the name on the fire truck, but just pulled up to the scene. You are exactly right when you talk about the number of fire stations here. We have Inkster, Garden City. We also have Westland and Livonia. Livonia coming in just about the last hour and a half with their oxygen refilling tank truck. That in an attempt to refill the oxygen tanks. These firefighters have been working this fire for at least the last 3.5 to 4 hours. That, of course, the immediacy with regards to this fire, no doubt still they are working on it. You can see the ladder truck behind me going up.
And Nima, with that firefighter in jeopardy at this time, possibly as they continue to search for him, is he or she the only person that's been affected thus far?
Thus far, that is the only injury and fatality that we know that has been confirmed from our sources here. Right now in the foreground there, if we can get a shot of that, Mike, that is Deputy Chief Rob Arbini with the Westland Fire Department talking to the media. Our Anu Prakash on the ground taking notes as well, getting the very latest from him as he confirms information from this fire this morning. Again, a sad situation when you talk about what exactly happened here. They did, however, it appears, they are now overhead, likely to put out any hot spots because this fire is still popping up.
All right, Nima, thanks so much for bringing us the very latest.
We now have an update for you on our lead story, a fire at the Electrical Stick Poker Hall in Westland where a firefighter is missing.
We're going to go back out to 7 Action News reporter Nima Shafee. He's been live on the scene. Nina, what can you tell us?
Joining me now is our colleague Anu Prakash. And Anu, you have been gathering the latest information, having just spoken with Deputy Chief Rob Arbini with the Westland Fire Department. What have you learned?
Well, the Deputy Chief is confirming what our sources have been telling us all morning long, that a Westland firefighter is still unaccounted for. They are on the scene here. They're using every resource available to them to find this firefighter. The Deputy Chief tells me that at 8:17 this morning, he got information that a cell phone call was made reporting the fire. He does not know if that call was made by an employee of the business or if it was from a passerby. They had all units en route. They do not have any confirmation on what started this fire yet. They do have state resources that they've called in, but they are on standby at this point. They have urban search and rescue here as well. They're dealing with some hot spots as well, but they are using every resource possible. Once again, it has been confirmed that a Westland firefighter is still unaccounted for.
And Anu, on the topic of using every resource possible, we're talking about a backhoe. We're talking about firefighters in the foreground there going by hand too, searching through that.
Absolutely. Source was telling me just a little while ago that they are searching by hand in some areas, searching the last known location of this firefighter. So certainly a very somber scene here as they just pray that they will find this firefighter.
Anu Prakash, thanks so much. My colleague Anu, our colleague Anu Prakash, getting the latest information from Deputy Chief Rob Arbini with the Westland Fire Department. This, no doubt, a story that Channel 7 will remain on top of and bring you the very latest, both on the air, on the web, and don't forget, we're on Twitter too. That is the very latest from Westland. I'm Nima Shafei for 7 Action News.
And Nima, I mean, the danger became apparent quickly because, as you reported earlier, those 5 firefighters went in, they went into the kitchen area, and then something right away sparked their knowledge that it wasn't right. They had to turn around and get back out.
Glenda, and you know, when a fire breaks out in a kitchen, no less a commercial kitchen, when you talk about the seriousness of a fire in a commercial kitchen with grease, those fires can get out of hand pretty darn quickly. So this fire spread pretty fast. And in fact, in the 3 hours that we were here, this fire spread from not only the electric stick, which we understand opened in 1993 as a pool hall and in recent years had become a charity poker hall of sorts, to the nearby business, neighboring business of Marveso's Italian Grill. So this fire still, if a live picture, if you can see the firefighters on that ladder truck still putting out the hot spots. A very sad indication too. Talk about somber. Our colleague Anu Prakash talking about how somber it is. A firefighter in the foreground down on bended knee with his helmet off, leaning on his helmet. That is a picture that you see here, and hugs as well from firefighters from the area. We're talking about Inkster, Livonia, Westland, as well as Garden City and Novi now here as well, an indication as to just how big this fire is. Like I said, we're continuing our coverage all throughout the day on 7 Action News.
You know, Nima, just their worst nightmare today. The job is so hard as it is. They've still got to continue putting out those hot spots, but they go through so much. They've confirmed for us, I know, and you got confirmation that indeed one of the firefighters, as we've been saying, is missing. They're not giving any information about who this person is. Are they names or how long they've been with the department or anything like that?
You know, at this point, I'm looking at Anu off screen. Anu tells me that they have not provided any information as to the identity of that firefighter. However, we're working to find that information out. Once we do, we'll no doubt make the announcement once we verify it with our sources.
Okay, all right. Nima, did that roof come down as they were coming out? Did that happen simultaneously?
What we know is that the extremity of the fire, the heat from the fire melted the steel. Want to step out of the way, you can see what's going on now. What we understand is the fire got so hot, you can see the melted steel beams is there. We were actually on scene when part of the roof was still intact. That, of course, shortly after 8:30 is when my photographer and I arrived on the scene, and that fire, the roof was still on the building. However, that all changed as the heat melted that steel. You can see the steel buckling under the pressure of that fire and under the heat of that fire.
And, you know, Nima, remind us again the process that they go through here. We're looking at live pictures from Chopper 7 right now of some of the hot spots being put out. You see the water. You also see firefighters that looks like, you know, on the kind of the side there looking through. So some obviously hand searches going on. There's a backhoe as well that doesn't, one of them actually appears to be digging a little bit right now. But are you getting information about kind of what the process is when they're looking for a firefighter like this?
You know, in this instance, that's a great question, Joanne. What we learned is that typically they don't bring in a backhoe. They don't go into these fires so quickly after something like this has happened, because as you can imagine, that fire, if it melted steel, it is still at this point, 3 hours later, extremely hot. So the immediacy behind bringing in a backhoe to begin searching, the immediacy behind having firefighters digging by hand, like no doubt for one of their own, puts I guess, immediacy into understanding what exactly is going on as you're looking from chopper. That is a seriousness. I see 2 backhoes right now. I don't know if you guys can see that at home, but that is just the seriousness. It's going down right now to move some rubble. Of course, we're told again, for viewers just tuning in, 5 firefighters made the initial entry towards the kitchen. Only 4 came out.
Such a tragedy.
Yes, it is. Nima, thank you so much for keeping us updated out there in Westland. We'll come back to you for later editions of 7 Action News at 5, 6, 7. We appreciate your coverage.
Yeah, and if we learn anything before the end of this newscast as well, we will pass it along. More Action News in just a moment. Let's get out to 7 Action News reporter Nima Shafei. He is in Westland. Now, Nima, what's the latest? What can you tell us?
Well, I want to bring in our colleague Anu Prakash that is joining me live. Anu, you have the latest information after speaking with Deputy Chief Rob Arbini with the Westland Fire Department. What can you tell us?
Yeah, he is confirming what our sources have been telling us all morning, that a Westland firefighter is still unaccounted for. They got a call around 8:17 this morning. They don't know if it was an employee of the electric stick or someone who was just passing by reporting the fire. They are using every resource possible here on the scene to try and find this firefighter. Just a few moments ago, there's this huge crowd of people here. They all stood in a circle, held hands, and said a prayer together. So certainly a very somber scene here. A lot of prayers being said in hopes of finding this firefighter.
No doubt, Anu, and just as you and I both saw, in just the last about 2 to 3 minutes, firefighters walked in with a kind of a stretcher, if you will, without the stand beneath it. They walked towards the back of the rubble. That, of course, before we went on the air. With them was some bags as well. We're going to stay out here and bring you the very latest both on the air, on the web, and don't forget, you can follow the very latest on Twitter too, as we're updating that around as soon as we get the latest information. For Anu Prakash, I'm Nima Shafei, live from Westland for 7 Action News.
Wow, this is happening rapidly, so please, as Nima said, follow with us and we'll keep you updated. Anu Prakash, Nima Shafei, thank you so much.
We'll see you again today on Action News at 5.